Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. It's Friday afternoon, and that means one more cast for the week, guys, before I send you on your merry way to weekend bliss. It's going to be a ladder match before we roll out with that, though. Just like to reiterate the Revolution tourney, guys. I know I'm mentioning it a lot, but I want to get as much publicity for it as possible. Going to put another link below this video in the description. If I haven't done so by the time you see this, remind me in the comment section. It's important because there's going to be new updates today, I believe, from the two brains regarding the tourney, and that's going to go a long way to helping getting everyone the salient points of information they need to know with regards to their teams, the amount of ranking points you can have in a team, the amount of players, so on and so forth. And this does apply to all you Joes out there as well. It's not just the pros. That's what's so great about the Revolution tourney. So you can get involved with this as well. You need to just find yourself a team. Hopefully someone that will take you. And it's with the whole rating system as well, it's not just about being a middle of the road Joe. Sometimes people will be after just one extra slot for their team. So even if you're a whatever, I don't know, a 500, 600, 700 rating player, whatever it might be, you may still be able to find yourself a team. So do not despair. Anyway, the sound of searing hot plasma cracking its way through glacial permafrost can mean only one thing. The players are emerging from their portals on Whitefire, so let's head on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Whitefire love this map, but not sure both of these players do. I was talking to certainly one of them, and that was a Voodoo down here at the bottom left. Just after this game, he says it's he finds this map really tough, and it is tough, certainly in a 1v1 setting, but it does make for some seriously entertaining games. Anyway, he's down here in his customary UEF down here, this time obviously not being able to pick his colors because it's a ladder match in his not so customary Ferrari red. He's opening first land, then it looks like he's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 P-gens. I'm wondering if we're seeing second air. There it goes, plonking down next to nearby mechs up there for the adjacency bonus. And then up here at the top, his opponent in the blue corner, it's Frenzy, and he's going Cybran, also opening first land, second air. What are the key features of Whitefire? Well, we've seen it many times before, but generally the standard of attack goes grab your front island, grab all of this, come out and expand to the side and try and attack your opponent vertically. So try and grab these side corners. Frenzy will be attacking south, more than likely trying to drop a few engineers down here. Spamming up factories on this side of the map is quite consistent with the meta, shall we say, and expect Voodoo to perhaps be doing the same thing. Of course, you've got these wrecks on Whitefire, large T3 Aeon naval factories. You did used to have those Salem wrecks, but they have been removed for the version 2 portion of this map, which makes it well, better for the 1v1. You don't need that much mass. You used to have all these Salem wrecks around here in this little bay area, which is excellent for 3v3s, gets the eco rolling out nice and quickly, but it's not quite so important for this. And straight off the conveyor belt out of the T1 air factory here, we've got a transport. So Voodoo looking to do some early expansion and then going a double air factory after that. So we're going to have 1 land factory, 3 air factory. Sounds like quite a heavy air build to begin with. Frenzy already starting work on bombers, 1 out, another one in production. Scout planes going off first to show him up some choice engineered targets, and that transport's now laden with units. Going to be heading out to the right side of the map, wants to grab those 4 mass points as quickly as possible and potentially lock down that area from any possible counterattack from Frenzy. Of course, the danger is with all these bombers out on the map, a careful drop will be able to take that out. Drops 1 engineer off there to grab the mass. Another engineer getting picked off in the middle, and second engineer getting picked off in the middle, so that bomber with 2 engineer kills to its name. That transport's been locked onto by an Inti. It will go down, and that expanding engineer caught by Frenzy. So Frenzy doing some very nice harassment indeed. There seems to be a much more efficient opening, I think, for this map. Finally that bomber gets shot down in the middle by one of the Intis from Voodoo, and that clears things up slightly, but those Intis just a little bit late in getting out. Could have done with getting those out first and then going for the transport. But Frenzy going to make a drop on the right hand side now, heading south with what looks like potentially 3 or 4 engineers on board that skyhook. Coming right to the bottom corner, 4 engineers, and immediately throws down a radar system and queues up 3 land factories. And that's going to make life a little bit difficult for Voodoo, who doesn't currently have any bombers in the air to be able to detect that and take out those engineers. 1 land factory already up and running. And bombers still circling overhead on Voodoo's side of the map. Random little bombing run there on an unfinished mechs. I think he's going to get any more joy out of that as defending interceptor from Voodoo comes out and pops him. Another little sky drop there with engineers. Voodoo drops one off on the forward island. And Voodoo yet to make any play on this top at all. The only harassment he's doing, he's managed to get 1 Tiger Shark into the bay area of Frenzy. He's not going to get anything done with it significantly. Looks like he's popped maybe a couple of engineers that were sitting in the water there assisting. But that's not going to get him any real joy at all. Voodoo, in the meantime, dropping off some engineers of his own over on this bottom right-hand corner. Is he aware of what's going on? That's the question. Potentially not. It's unlikely he's seen anything over here. And in comes some Mantis, and this is going to cause problems with Voodoo. It'll be interesting to see how he reacts to this. It's definitely putting him on the back foot for this map. 1 engineer down, 2 engineers down, and another one still going about its merry business, working on that T1 land factory. But I don't know how he's going to counter this. He's got to get his ACU across to this side, I think. And I think he agrees. He's making the long walk. But of course, it's a long way over there. And it's a long time not to have it attacking anything or building anything. ACU, of course, being a key piece of equipment at any stage of the game, let alone this early on. Frenzy just doing a nice job there, spamming up some tracers, static T1 anti-air, helping to absolutely massacre all those interceptors from Voodoo, who've flown a very ill-advised sortie over Frenzy's main base. And although that factory did get finished, the engineer got popped and it's completely isolated, and now with Medusas standing by, that can continuously disable it and take it down. That was a terrible miss though. It actually hits them, but he's got enough units in the area. That is a major little win there for Frenzy, formerly FA account. Now we've got Mantis piling up on this left side, and Voodoo not able to make any play up here at all. He's been completely shut down on this side of the map. Very harsh indeed, and it's all been down to that build order really that Frenzy decided to pick. Those early bombers coming out first, shutting down Voodoo's expansion, which has left him in this pretty pickle he now finds himself in. Finally, that land factory going down on the bottom right-hand side. That is now a secure hold on that portion of the map for Frenzy, who now effectively holds 75% of this map under his control. Still needs to grab these mexes up here at the top, but this top expansion slightly lower priority than the bottom one down here, which puts more pressure on Voodoo. He knows that Voodoo hasn't made any play for the top landmass yet. We have actually got T2 Navy though on the field for Voodoo, so that's rather nice to see. Despite all these difficulties, he's shoved in a tech upgrade there on that naval factory. If he can start pumping out some destroyers, some Valiants, could go some way to changing the status quo in this game. And quite a lot of inties on the field as well for Voodoo. He wants to drag them across this middle island and gain superiority on this side of the map. Then he can freely use his bombers. There are some Sky Slammers in the mix coming out of this factory over here on the right-hand side, so he's probably not going to be able to consistently harass with bombers over there to the point of bombing Frenzy off this side of the map or anything like that. But if he chooses his targets well, he can certainly pick off little exposed mass extractors that don't have any support near them. There is only one Sky Slammer in the mix though, and Voodoo emerging onto land with his ACU. Moles will be seeing that. They'll know that was the ACU coming onto land at this stage in the map, or this stage of the game, sorry, on this map. It's going to have to be the ACU. Going to be anything else likely to be emerging. But Riptide's now on the field for Voodoo, so he's made the transition to T2 land as well. So we've got T2 land and T2 Navy from Voodoo. We've now got T2 Navy from Frenzy as well, starting to work on some Salems. And Salems, of course, in that redeeming feature of being able to walk out onto land. Such a wonderful unit, but not least on Whitefire. Such versatility. The whole setup here with this very flat central island. Force your opponent back, and this presents no barrier to you at all. You can just walk onto land and bombard naval factories at range. But look at what's happening down here at the bottom right hand side of the map. Those bombers going to work now on some of those mexes. Voodoo now walking in with his ACU. You want to get something done, do it yourself. He's like some villain whose henchmen have let him down, and now he's got to take command personally and flush out the infection, with of course some friendly Riptides accompanying him. That will gain him some leeway getting back into this game. He's not that far behind on mass, 69 I think, or is that 94? It's so hard to know with the reclaim counter. Zep incidentally saying he thinks he might have found a solution to the whole reclaim counter impingement showing up on this scoreboard. Might be able to have more accurate details on relative income coming soon. But a nice little drop here from Frenzy over on the left hand side of the map. That T2 Mex is doomed, I fear. Voodoo's priority though has to be the right hand side for the moment. He can build a few units to deal with that. He's got a Valiant covering the shoreline over here, but of course all of the time that this is going on, there's a little or nothing happening on this side of the map. We've got one Riptide on 5 HP that was dropped up there from Voodoo, but he's not going to find any way in to do any damage with that one unit. And now we've got Salems, we've got Tridents, we've got Barracudas lining up off the coast of Voodoo's main forward island here, and problems just keep coming for Voodoo. Finally eliminating the static defenses on this expansion to the right hand side of the map. That's going to go down. That will possibly open the door for a victory on this side of the map. It's quite early to say, but it doesn't look like Frenzy is committing to any hardcore defense of this bottom right hand side. He's coming in with some Navy, but he seems to be focused more on harassment now on this side of the map, and that's all you really need to do. You don't need to hold this. You just need to get in there and cause your opponent enough headaches that he spends time, energy, mass and build power trying to get it back. And then you can apply pressure elsewhere, which seems to be what Frenzy is doing. So very nice to see. Riptide's coming in now to help finish off these groups of Mantis and this Medusa here. Voodoo's got this all in hand. But in the meantime, this Valiant's getting pummeled by T1 and T2 naval units out here in the middle. Down it goes. Another one showing up just in time to see his buddy go pop. Now more T1 bombers coming in from Frenzy, harassing this front island. Frenzy doing a remarkable job in this game, just not letting Voodoo back into it at all. Very strong, confident play. We always like to see that, especially against a player of Voodoo's caliber. Interceptors out on the field on this side of the map for both players. Nice pass in there from Voodoo, snags a couple. But a nice bombing run there over the naval factory from Voodoo. Takes out a whole bunch of build capacity there, slowing up the production of those Valiants, which goes some way to helping Frenzy in the naval game. Although these Riptides are helping a lot. It has to be said, of course, those submarines not going to have any joy against those hover units at all. We've got a Siren class cruiser coming in, which will really punish Voodoo's air. Interceptors just not cut out to deal with that kind of firepower. still, Voodoo's yet to finish cleaning out this bottom right-hand side. 3 land factories, all currently on pause though now. It's a pity he hasn't got a couple of Lobos with him to help finish this off quicker, but as I say, all on pause. Frenzy not going to waste any more mass and energy on producing stuff out of there, which will just insta-die. But all the mass points down on that forward island. Taking a look at the ecos, seems to be around the 46 to 50 mass mark to the 85 or so for Frenzy. So Frenzy ahead by a considerable margin. Voodoo just sitting there pummeling those factories, able to do anything about it, and got a T3 sonar platform in the mix over here on the Navy section for Frenzy. It's going to give him very nice intel indeed, and he's got to work out some way of dealing with this Navy. A lot more build capacity back on this naval factory, but it's now under threat once again. These Sirens lock onto it with their range. They're going to start popping engineers left, right and center. A whole bunch go down on this top left corner already. In come the Valiants to try and shoo the fleet away, and a bunch of torpedo bombers in coming as well for Voodoo. So he's made the transition to T2 air, primarying one of the Siren class cruisers straight off the bat. Down it goes. Will alleviate some of the pressure, some of the anti-air coming off this fleet, but interceptors coming in from Voodoo as well, straight after those torpedo bombers. Now a large air fracas happening over the top of this naval battle. Still the Barracudas and the Slivers survive. The Salem in the middle as well. And a Mermaid as well, counterintelligence boat. That's going to be messing with the intelligence signals that Voodoo is getting, although he hasn't got the best coverage in the world, it has to be said. And bombers coming in as well from Frenzy over on the right hand side, destroying all those mexes that Voodoo has recently grabbed. He's having to walk his ACO to this side again to pick them up. Voodoo is just stretched at the moment. Frenzy is everywhere. Salem coming in at range once again. That's a lot of Riptides though, and they are going to be trying to chase down this Navy. Of course though, hover units generally not nearly as fast as their naval counterparts. They can be an excellent counter to Navy if you can catch up with it. We're seeing some of that now as Voodoo manages to snag both a Siren and a Salem caught napping at the back of this fleet, and there's potentially another Salem in jeopardy now as a few of these Trident class frigates get pushed, and these Riptides have made it right the way across the map. Put some damage finally on Frenzy at minute 21. There are 4 T2 mass points on this forward island that are now in jeopardy. Land factory goes down. Not going to focus on all of them. They're going to get in there and start annihilating build capacity, I imagine. Another Salem off the conveyor belt. That should probably be primary for the moment, but I think the Riptides are far too thin in number now. Slowly they get thinned out, but still not before taking out a ton of build capacity with them. That's been whittled down to about 25% or 30% of what it was at a moment ago. Excellent work with the T1 bombers though from Frenzy, and another wave coming in on the right hand side. Voodoo, having only just reclaimed control of these mass points, is about to lose them once again. Bombers coming in over the right hand side. Has he got any interceptors to deal with them? They're all in the middle of the map. They've been protecting the naval forces, protecting the torpedo bombers that have been working on the submarines, on the frigates. They are far too busy to be able to defend this bottom right hand corner, which is just, it's like been like Sarajevo or something in the 90s. It has not had a good run of things, that's for certain. 2 of them down, another 2 ready to go, but to Voodoo's credit, he's done amazingly well in the middle, considering how hard he's been pushed. It's minute 23, and you can't say he's out of this. Not yet. He's got very little on his side of the map, but he's keeping the fight away from his base. He's pressurizing Frenzy. He's picking his counters well. Excellent use of these Riptides, massacring this fleet comprised of T1 and T2 units from Frenzy. Salem's and Sirens getting caught all day by these Riptides. In come a bunch of Valiants as well. 2 Salem's down, Trident down, and once again, Frenzy is backed up into his harbour. I cannot believe it. Unbelievable turn of play here from one of the greats in the UEF game at the moment. Despite being under all that pressure, he's keeping the battle over here. Takes real guts and gusto, and all of that build capacity on that T2 factory just got murdered. And on go the Riptides into the main base. A couple of very vulnerable T2 power plants up here at the top left as well. You could snag those, that would be very nice indeed. He's got to watch out for the explosion. Takes out 2 of the Riptides. The other one takes out another, but still 2 power plants down. How does that leave Frenzy's power grid? Not in a good way at all. He's now bottlenecking on power. That is a crucial loss. Immediately starts spamming up some T1 PD. Doesn't want those Riptides pushing any further in. Finally, they will get taken out. Luckily, before that T3 mass point gets finished off. Still, though, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mass points not claimed on Voodoo's side of the map because of this constant harassment, and not to mention the full mass points here on this right-hand side of the forward island. Voodoo having major problems dealing with this T1 bomber spam coming from the north. Frenzy got excellent eyes for where he needs to be placing the pressure in this one. Taking a look at the eco on paper, despite the success that Voodoo has had with that last attack, not looking good. Still bottlenecking on power though, full bar mass and almost wasting it there for Frenzy. It's never a good feeling, and this time Voodoo decides to probe an attack on the left hand side. There are a couple of T1 naval factories here that are probably not going to survive the winter. Down they go. Down one of them goes, and immediately down goes another one. Mainly T1 though, not going to have the range to get in and cause any issues here. And look at the T3 mexes popping up on this side of the map for Frenzy. If Voodoo could find a way to take those down, he might be able to really get back in this. Whole wave of stalks out for Voodoo as well. He's focusing very hard on the navy of Frenzy, because if you can take that down, you might be able to pin his opponent to the top side of the map. And then all he needs to do is work on air, get that back, and then he might finally be able to get back this side of the map. But another engineer going to go down, just trying to get those mass points, says Voodoo. But nope, denied all frickin' day. Very good play there. T2 units still rolling off the conveyor belts on this side for Frenzy. Once again manages to beat back those units. Just 3 Valiants, 2 of which very badly wounded. Goes down, sitting it here at the aperture here. Siren pushing quite far forward. Needs to be a little bit careful. Has he rebuilt those power plants? Yes, he has. Has that sorted his power issues? Yes, it has. 250 odd mass. We're looking at Frenzy somewhere around that versus the 90 something for Voodoo. Voodoo doing way better on reclaim, over 10,000 more. I wonder if it's going to be enough. He's been so down on mass this whole time thanks to those T1 bombers. Frenzy sitting up there very confidently with his commander with the torpedo upgrade. It does so much damage, that upgrade. The rate of fire on it is insane. Turns the commander into a walking naval danger zone, and such a nice little aspect of factional diversity there. Such a useful little thing that the Cyberans have. Still though, Voodoo managing to keep the battle up here despite the fact that he's got very little on this side of the map whatsoever. Operating literally off a T2 air factory, a T2 land factory, and a T2 naval factory, and that's all he's doing. He's bringing in torpedo bombers, he's bringing in Valiants, he's bringing in Riptides. The question is, will it be enough? Will it allow him to get back into this game? Minute 31 up here for Voodoo. He's got this line of naval factories down here, more teched up ones as well. A T3 now, still producing T2 units out of it for the moment, working on Salem class ships, but Frenzy wanting to respond to this consistent naval push that Voodoo's been making for about the last 10 or 12 minutes or so by out spamming him. So many naval factories now on the field. A lot of build capacity as well around that T3, and hello, a queued up Monkey Lord on the beach here. T3 engineer is on his way to start building that, and that could spell disaster for Voodoo. He's got nothing on his side of the map. He really won't see it coming as well if Frenzy pilots it correctly. Everything Voodoo's had for the last 10 or 12 minutes has been funneled into attack, and to his credit, he has kept Frenzy pinned in this little harbour area here. You can see the wrecks on the ocean floor, tons of CUs, tons of mass being deposited literally on Frenzy's doorstep. It's surprising he's not further ahead actually in reclaim, or ahead at all for that matter. His commander in the area should be sucking all this up every time he has a reprieve from Voodoo, which to his credit, and to be fair, hasn't been much. He hasn't had much of a chance in terms of reprieve. And now interceptor engagement over the middle, and Frenzy committing to some T2 torpedo bombers as well. Some cormorants out, the Cyber T2 torpedo bombers. Not getting much done there though, too many interceptors in the sky. But of course this air engagement happening over the harbour area for Frenzy, which there is at least one Siren class cruiser, a couple of Salems, it's a lot of anti-air. Makes life very difficult indeed, especially for your T1 anti-air or T1 air units. But look at the amount of build capacity Frenzy is now funneling in onto that Spider. Already 25% done. Voodoo needs to work out some way to snag an ACU kill before it is too late. The trouble is he's immensely thin on any kind of submarine or any kind of torpedo boat that can shoot underwater units. That torpedo upgrade, I can't see Frenzy coming out of the water anytime soon. He's been such a cornerstone of his defense of this area, though not particularly great at dealing with Riptides, of course. A few of those being paused. How is Frenzy's eco dealing with that Monkey Lord? He's on the breadline for power, but he's doing just fine with the construction of it. That is nearly 75% done, and this could be the end for Voodoo, who's still only just about to get those mass extractors back on the bottom right. Frenzy has done such an excellent job. He hasn't been so vibrant recently with the T1 bombers, but to his credit, he really doesn't need to. All of his strength has been into repelling this attack from Voodoo, which has just gone on the best part of about 15 minutes now, maybe 20. Bulwark shields in the mix as well, to make his life that much more difficult. I don't think it matters. This Monkey Lord will surely spell victory for him. All he needs to do really is hang on. He's got the production power to do it. Of course, as soon as this Monkey Lord is done, all that build capacity can go back on that T3 factory. There it goes. Or of course any of the other T1s, of which there are many. It's quite astounding how well Voodoo has done. I know I keep saying it, but I would have capitulated, well, 34 minutes ago against Frenzy, but you know what I mean. In comes that spider. He wants to be careful. He doesn't want to reveal it too early. He doesn't want to give Voodoo a chance to respond. Take a look at Voodoo's view of the battlefield. Transport's coming in the mix as well. That will have been spotted, surely. That is enough of a warning, but I don't know if it's going to make any difference. Does Voodoo even have any kind of spare production power, spare eco to funnel into defense? We have got some engineers moving over here, but they are working on mass storage. He needs to get back into the eco game. He is losing out by over 100 mass per tick, which is very painful indeed. Frenzy floating a massive chunk of mass. But still, this naval battle continues. Can you believe the amount of dead ships on this ocean floor? So many destroyers and frigates. I'd say the UEF destroyer would be my least favorite destroyer of any of the factions. There's no problem about it. In fact, I'd say it definitely is. It's just very vanilla and dull. I'm going to take a look at split screens here to keep an eye on the action, make sure I don't miss anything with regards to Frenzy's commander, who's potentially still in dangerous waters in the very literal sense. But the Monkey Lord is going to be ultra important now. This is going to be surely game for Frenzy. We have got some strap bombers coming out from Voodoo. I'm amazed he's got the eco to spare. Is the plan, is the question. He's going to try and circle around and deal with it, or is he going to go on the attack? ASF's on the field as well. There goes the microwave laser, working on that build capacity around these naval factories, which have caused Frenzy so many problems. Over on the right hand side, a few Salem wrecks once again having issues. Sorry, Salem wrecks, Salem ships once again having issues with those riptides. Monkey Lord emerging onto the shore now, though, and look at this. Absolutely no defense whatsoever. Voodoo hasn't been able to afford anything to deal with a counterattack like that. There he goes. Wham bam, thank you, man. And surely that is going to be game. Frenzy looking very safe over on the right-hand side. Myrmidon's being built in the water, T3 SAMs, to protect against incoming strap bombers. That's going to be able to do the job just fine. Voodoo still sitting in the water up here by his naval factories, but completely powerless to do anything about anything. Whole banks of T1 torpedo launchers now between Voodoo's fleet and Frenzy's ACU and these other shipyards. Very soon there will be no more naval factories left to produce any more units. The last few units are coming off the production line for Voodoo and heading north, but it will be to no avail, I am certain of it, as that Monkey Lord just hoovers up all of the structures in Voodoo's base. There he goes. 207 kills on that spider already. Crucial T2 power plants, the last to go. Take a look at what's left of Voodoo's eco. Not that much. There goes his power, and there goes everything he will be building from now on, as that Monkey Lord will now surely start focusing on that last couple, or those last couple of naval factories. Superbly played game by Frenzy. The key, completely shutting down and preventing Voodoo from re-expanding on this side of the map. completely locking out his opponent, and Voodoo so busy with the attack down here, he was never able to force anything up on this side of the map. Now Voodoo, commander in major jeopardy. That is surely going to be the end. Forward he walks in his last desperate effort, starts reclaiming the Monkey Lord. But his head is out of the water, and bazinga, down he goes. Very well played, Frenzy, and to Voodoo, your credit, man, very well played as well. You were behind the whole game, you still managed to draw that out for 42 minutes. Incredibly impressed. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. I certainly did. As always, more to come from me in the future. In the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle, signing out.